The forest was never silent, only holding its breath. Matt aimed his plasma rifle at the creek, expecting another six-legged scavenger. But from the silver water rose her, skin like moonlight, eyes glowing violet. She looked straight at him and whispered his name, Matt Harrington. "You came back," the rifle trembled. The water around her began to hum, like the world itself recognized her voice. And in that single heartbeat, Matt knew he wasn't the hunter tonight. The forest on Epsilon 9 had a pulse of its own. It hummed through the roots, the leaves, the glassy air. Matt Harrington pretended not to notice. He was good at ignoring things that felt alive. 3 years had passed since the ruins collapsed, since his crew vanished beneath a wave of alien light and falling stone. He'd signed the reports, buried the guilt, and moved into a cabin where no one could remind him of failure. Out here, the only thing that spoke back was his kettle, which refused to boil unless he said please. Most mornings were identical. He'd grab the dented metal bucket, follow the narrow trail down to the creek, and convince himself that isolation was peace, not punishment. The silence was thick enough to believe that. Until today, after what he'd just seen at the water, her rising like a dream he'd never dared to have, silence felt impossible. His pulse hadn't slowed. His rifle still trembled. The image of her violet eyes clung to his vision, even as the light around the creek faded back to normal. He'd stumbled backward, breath ragged, muttering the only thing his scrambled brain could find. Right, clearly I'm dehydrated, seeing glowing mermaids now. But the forest didn't laugh. It listened. Even the wind held still. Matt backed away, every instinct screaming to run, yet something stronger rooting him in place. Curiosity, his oldest sin. Then a sound broke the spell, a soft hum, almost like the echo of her voice drifting through the trees. The ground beneath his boots vibrated. The creek's surface rippled, glowing faintly blue again. He turned toward the cabin, forcing his breath steady. Nope, not today. No mysterious space ghosts. I'm out, the forest disagreed. A faint trail of light followed his steps, threading between the ferns like it was guiding him. By the time he reached his porch, the glow had faded, but the air smelled electric, like rain before a storm. Matt exhaled shakily, set the bucket down, and stared at his reflection in the window. Same face, same scars. But something in his eyes looked different, like the forest had whispered a secret he wasn't ready to understand. And behind him, down by the creek, the water began to sing again. By the time night fell, the storm had arrived. Rain drummed on the tin roof hard and fast, like the planet wanted inside. Matt tossed another log into the fireplace and pretended he wasn't checking the window every 10 seconds. He nearly dropped his mug when he saw her. The woman from the creek sat on the floor beside the fire, wrapped in his old expedition blanket. Her skin still shimmered faintly, casting ghost blue reflections on the walls. "How?" he began. "You left the door open," she said, voice calm, accented but clear. "The forest guided me here," Matt blinked. "The forest guided you? Great. I live in a haunted ecosystem." She tilted her head, studying him like he was the curiosity. "You do not remember me, do you?" He laughed once, too sharply. "Pretty sure I'd remember meeting someone who glows." Her eyes softened. "You were part of the team that uncovered the lower ruins. You woke something there. That is why the water called you." Matt's throat went dry. "My team died in those ruins." "I know," she said quietly. "I tried to warn them." Silence stretched between them, broken only by the fire's hiss. For a moment, grief and wonder wrestled inside him. Then habit took over. Hospitality, the last shred of earth manners. "You hungry?" "I've got dehydrated noodles that almost taste like despair." A faint smile curved her lips. "I have not eaten human food before." "Perfect. First time for everything." While he cooked, she explored the cabin, touching his books, tracing the carved initials on his table. She moved with a mix of grace and caution, like someone unused to walls. When he handed her the bowl, she sniffed it, curious. Steam fogged the faint glow of her skin. "What's your name?" he asked. "Alira," she said. "Envoy of the Lyrae." He nodded slowly. "Matt Harrington." "Professional hermit." Her gaze met his, steady and unsettlingly kind. You are more than that. The forest would not have shown me your face otherwise. Before he could respond, thunder shook the cabin, followed by a distant metallic roar that didn't belong to weather. Alira stood instantly, eyes sharp. They found me. Who's they? Matt demanded. The ones who burned the ruins, she said. And they are not far. The rain had stopped, but the forest hadn't gone still. It pulsed, alive, alert. The hum Matt had heard before was louder now, deep enough to feel in his chest. He killed the cabin lights. How many are we talking? 3 ships, Alira whispered, peering through the rain-streaked window. Small crafts, scouts, but others will follow. Matt's pulse quickened. He'd been hunted before. Corporate tribunals, bad memories, but never by aliens with glowing armor. Guess dinner's over. Alira's expression stayed unreadable, but her hand hovered close to his arm, as if to steady him. You know this terrain better than anyone. Can you lead us away? He hesitated, surprised by the trust in her tone. Yeah, grab your things. Well, grab my things. You're apparently a fugitive now. They slipped out the back door into the soaked underbrush. The air carried the metallic scent of burning ozone. Searchlights cut through the trees, chasing shadows across the ferns. Matt crouched low, signaling for her to follow. Keep quiet and don't step on the roots. They're slick as... He froze. Ahead, a red beam sliced across their path. He pulled Alira down behind a fallen trunk. The beam lingered for a heartbeat, then moved on. They use heat scanners, she murmured. If they find us, yeah, I get it. Vaporized, interrogated, probably both. For a moment she smiled. You joke even in danger. Bad coping mechanism. You'll get used to it. They moved again, weaving through luminous vines that pulsed like veins under the soil. The forest seemed to respond to Alira, leaves shifting, roots parting where she stepped. At one point, a glowing insect the size of Matt's fist landed on his sleeve. Alira touched it gently, and it flew off without a sound. You really are connected to this place, he whispered. Her reply was soft, almost mournful. It remembers my kind. It mourns us. A distant explosion split the quiet. Firelight flickered beyond the ridge. They're burning the forest to flush us out, Matt said, jaw tight. I thought you said they wanted you alive. They want what's inside me, she answered, voice low. The key to something buried here, something you almost found 3 years ago. He turned sharply. The ruins? Her violet eyes glowed brighter. Yes, and if they reach them first, this world won't survive the sunrise. The ridge loomed ahead like the spine of a sleeping giant. Smoke drifted through the treetops, orange against the indigo sky. Matt's boots sank into the moss as he led Alira through a narrow pass, each step heavier than the last. Every tree, every rock, felt like a ghost from the day his team died here. They reached a ledge overlooking the excavation site, now scarred by new machinery. When scouts moved below, black armor reflecting the firelight, Matt clenched his jaw. That used to be my dig. Alira touched his arm. It still is. You woke something here, Matt. The forest remembers you too. He gave a humorless chuckle. Let's hope it sends flowers. At the far end of the ruins, a circular stone platform pulsed with dim blue light. Alira's eyes widened. The entrance. They're close. She pressed her hand to the markings on her forearm. They glowed in response. A low vibration rolled through the ground, and a section of the platform shifted open, revealing a spiral descent into darkness. Matt blinked. You had a key this whole time? Her voice softened. I am the key. Before he could respond, a shout echoed from below. A beam of red light swept across the ridge. Matt pulled her down behind a boulder. Too late. A familiar voice carried through the smoke. Always the hero, Harrington. Matt froze. From the shadows stepped Dr. Cale, his former mentor, the man he'd watched die in the collapse. Except now, Cale's skin bore faint silver patterns like Alira's. His eyes glowed crimson. Matt's voice cracked. You were supposed to be dead, Kyle smiled thinly. Death is a matter of perspective. The Vaughn helped me evolve. Alira's tone turned to steel. You betrayed us, Kyle shrugged. Survival, dear envoy. Someone had to ensure the hardcore didn't fall into sentimental hands. Before Matt could fire back, the ground trembled again. A column of blue light erupted from the open chamber, washing across the ruins. Alira gasped, her markings flaring. "It's calling us." Kale stepped toward the light. "No, Alira, it's calling me." Matt grabbed her hand. "We go together, or not at all." And with the sound of the forest roaring above them, they leapt into the light. The light swallowed them whole. For a moment there was no sound, no gravity, only a vast ocean of brightness that felt alive. Then the glow dimmed, and Matt's boots hit solid ground again. They stood inside a chamber the size of a cathedral, carved from crystal and breathing faint light. In the center floated a sphere of liquid energy, the heart core. Matt's breath caught. "This is what we died for." Alira stepped closer, awestruck. The patterns on her skin shimmered like constellations. "It's older than our galaxies. It remembers creation." A metallic echo broke the silence. Kale emerged from the far side, weapon raised, face half lit by the core's radiance. "Magnificent, isn't it? Power to heal worlds, or erase them." "Don't do this," Matt said quietly. "You used to believe in discovery, not domination." Kale's smirk wavered. "Belief doesn't feed survival, Matt. You'll learn that too, right before you fade." He fired. The blast struck the core instead, sending a shockwave through the chamber. Energy arced between the walls like lightning. Matt threw himself over Alira as shards of blue light rained down. When the air settled, Kale lay on his knees, weapon fried, eyes wide with disbelief. The core pulsed, slow, steady, watching. A voice filled the space, neither male nor female. "Two hearts, one path. The seed of balance has returned." Matt met Alira's gaze. "What does it mean?" "It's choosing," she whispered. "It needs both of us." They reached out together. The instant their hands touched the core, energy surged through them, terrifying and beautiful. Memories flashed, her world, his Earth, everything that ever was. Their pain, their hope, their laughter, it all merged into light. When it faded, the chamber was quiet again. Kale was gone, dissolved into dust. The core had split, half embedded in Alira's chest, half glowing faintly in Matt's palm. She looked at him, tears shimmering like stars. "It joined us. We are its guardians now." Outside, dawn broke over Epsilon 9. The forest that once whispered now sang. Matt smiled faintly. "You realize I came out here to be alone?" Alira touched his hand. "Then you failed beautifully," he laughed, honest, unguarded. And as the rising sun caught the markings now etched on both their skin, the world seemed to breathe again, reborn through love, loss, and something greater than either of them.